everybody. Welcome back to Foreplay Sports Bar. I'm Scott Taylor. That's Curt Keilback. The Bombers have made their cuts. They're down to their 46-man roster, 42 of whom will dress for Friday night's game between the Bombers and the BC Lions, live from BC Place Stadium in Vancouver. It starts at 9 o'clock Winnipeg time, and it will be a very interesting Bomber team this year. The team that went to the Grey Cup last year, lost 34-23, has been completely broken down. There's no more Doug Brown, no more Don Oramacion, no more Odell Willis, no more Clint Kent, no more Abi Khan, no more Brendan Labatt, no more Greg Carr. This is a brand new football team. The list does go on. This is a brand new football team that's going to start on Friday night. Quickly, how will they do?
You know, I think it's great that they're playing their first game against the best team. I really do. Yeah. And I think that's going to be a true measure because nobody really knows what to expect there. They're younger than they were last year, and there's every reason to believe, most people believe they're not going to be as good as they were last year. What better way to find it out than to go up into the ballpark with it that has the best team and see how you measure up. And then you've got a week till you go to Montreal, and that's when you got to check these things out. You got to correct as many errors as you can, and maybe make some changes. But it's going to be a rough beginning.
It's going to be a tough start because of two mistakes. One mistake is they were convinced that stadium would be ready on July 26th. I don't know why they were.
What difference does it make if you play your first 4 games on the road? I've heard so much about that. They go to 1 game a week. That's not a rough travel schedule. It really isn't. And that just means somewhere along the line, you play 9 of your last 14 at home. So how does that hurt you? Playing 4 games in a row. It's not as if you're playing 4 days in a row. You go there one weekend, so Montreal the next weekend.
If you come back 0-4, it hurts you.
Well, sure, it hurts you 0-4, but like I say, you've still got the opportunity to make it up. And who's to say if you're not that good, that you're not going to be 0-4 anyway at the beginning of the year? Because this is a team that should get better as the season goes on. They're young, they're inexperienced. Maybe you want that. Maybe you want the opportunity to make a little hay at home once you've got everything finely tuned, hopefully.
I will admit to the fact that for most people, the Canadian Football League doesn't really begin until Labor Day anyway. That the first 8 games are, you can go 2-6, you can still make the playoffs. Because it really starts to count after Labor Day.
Well, look at the BC Lions last year.
Exactly right. As long as you play well after Labor Day, there's only 8 teams. 6 make the playoffs. If you can win 7 or 8 games, you can get in the playoffs.
And once you get there,
you never know what'll happen. But I still think this team's going to have a lot of trouble this year, and I'll tell you why. The offensive line. It's a young, untested offensive line. Yes, they have Glenn January on the left side and Andre Douglas on the right side. Both of those players start the season hurt. I wouldn't even think about bringing either one of them back until we're well into August. You want those guys 100%. The only problem is, does Buck Pierce survive the first 4 road games?
That's true. And another thing, last year this team was built on defense. They're weaker in that regard.
They're a lot weaker on defense. It'll be interesting to see how they play. I think that they are potentially 8-10 at best, maybe 5-13. But it's a rebuilding year before they go into the big stadium, and then everything changes.
Watch to see what happens in Vancouver.
We'll watch to see what happens in Vancouver. And Vancouver is Friday night. It'll be the Bombers and the Lions in the first game of the season. I'm Scott Taylor. That's Curt Keilback. We're at Foreplay Sports Bar. We'll be back right after this.